right, so I'm here with Steve Henry, and he's got a pretty interesting story, so I'll give him the mic. You want to do a little intro?
Okay, yeah, I was an Emporia State grad, played football here at Emporia State and ran track back in the 70s. And after I graduated, I was lucky to be drafted in the NFL, 5th round. So I played 3 years in the pros. So I learned how to be healthy there. And then I got out of football and I started going the opposite way pretty quick, so I need to get some good habits.
So could you go into kind of what is your current routine?
Okay, currently I just retired about a month ago, and so I'm 60 now, and I like to ride bikes. So like last week, I rode a 40 and a 25-mile run, and my wife and I both started, once the Dirty Kansas started, the gravel grinding, we started doing that. And so I've ridden in 500s, but I don't think I can go to 200. I'm not quite that crazy. But so I like to ride bikes, and then I do other things to stay in shape or just have some fun, enjoy life. So ping pong is one of the things I picked up, and the guys are teaching me every day how to play. I also, George helped me out and got me into pickleball, so I played a little bit of that once, so I'm learning that game also. But I like to do anything that's athletic.
And how many times a week would you say?
Right now, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, something like that. I wasn't doing that frequently when I was working, because I worked out of town and drove 90 miles a day, so I had to, I'd say I was probably into 1 to 2 times a week at that point. And I worked there for 35 years. So, kind of got the routine.
So why are you trying to stay so active? Like, what are your motivations?
Well, part of it's stay healthy. To me, it makes life a lot easier if you're healthy. That's a big key. And then, of course, I got my wife pushing me all the time to stay healthy also. So that's a lot of fun.
How has exercise or being active kind of changed your life? It sounds like
It's been a part of my life since I was a little kid. I mean, I grew up in a small town, so we played every sport there was, just depending on what season it was. And actually, when I was in high school, I was in 4 sports. I ran track, played basketball, played football, and golf. So golf is like one of those lifetime fitness things. I've also played tennis on a men's team for several years and enjoyed that. We went down to the Nationals down in Tucson, Arizona, and had a great time. And it was a real good camaraderie there. And I think some of the lifetime sports like tennis, golf, bicycling are something you can do to keep you in shape.
what about, have you had any like downsides from exercise?
Not really from exercise. I'd say from some sports I have, sports injuries and things. But exercise-wise, I try not to, if I start sensing an injury's coming or something, I back off a little bit. You can control that. Sports-wise, though, sometimes go out too hard or something. So I've had a surgery or 2, broken nose a couple times, those kind of things.
Yeah. So how would you say the reasons were that you're, in here playing like ping pong versus, out there scuba diving or anything?
Oh, yeah, well, I just, as soon as I retired, I went to the coffee shop and find out what people were doing, and I found out, hey, there's a ping pong group this one, and then pickleball and different things. So I said, I'll try it. I enjoy just being with people and doing things like that. George Milton, he was a professor here when I was in college, and so I got to know him pretty well. He's the one I ran into down there. He's always trying to get me to do something different. So have a lot of fun.
So it's a lot about the kind of the social.
Yeah, I think it's a lot about the social part. Doing physical activities with other people keeps everybody involved. If you're just doing it yourself, like I like to lift weights some too, and I'm ready to get back into that. But if you don't have somebody to do it with, and it's hard sometimes to stay motivated, keep doing it.
Segue.
Okay.
When you do, come into lift, do you ever kind of notice any sort of maybe disrespect or any type of views from other
Others?
populations? About
Well, see, I was real lucky. Back in the 70s, when I was a kid growing up, in high school, we didn't even lift, right? There wasn't, it just didn't happen. And once I got into college and really started lifting a lot. And so I didn't learn bad habits maybe real early, but I learned some really good things in football on how to lift. And so, I see some of those where people try to do, I always believed in you got opposite muscle groups and you should work them all equally so that you don't put additional stresses on joints. So a lot of times you'll see people that all they do is lift their arms because they want to look good, right?
Yeah.
The guns and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't get you there.
So that's one kind of advice that you would give to someone your age. What else would you advice-wise if you had a friend who's not active?
Well, I'd say find a way to get active, and there's many different ways, like ping pong. You wouldn't think it's very active, but I told my wife the other day I sweated more from that than I had from a couple other things I've done during the year. So these guys really hit it. But yeah, I think the key thing is just finding somebody that you can work out with that'll push you. We've done that. My wife and I started riding bikes when the DK started, and we had some friends that liked to ride too, so we pushed each other, and we started out at 50 miles and thought that was a long ways, and we've done the hundreds now. And I don't know that I'll ever do it, but maybe they'll push me there.
All right. Well, I appreciate you taking the time.
You bet.
To answer all these questions.
No problem. Good to talk to you.